I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast.
Episode 32, man. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. How you doing today, Tivis?
Well, we both got a haircut. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah. My wife wanted me to cut a little bit more off the top, but that's not going to happen right now. So, yeah. And I'm realizing my audio is really low, so I'm trying to turn it up a little bit for everybody. So hopefully it doesn't go too AWOL on it.
Myke is in a new location, which is hard for a producer.
Yeah, I'm in the Munsters house, man. Like, we got Kitty right behind me if anyone's watching the video and stuff. So, yeah, I have some guests visiting this week. So I was like, I'll go somewhere else remote and record. So, yeah. So if I'm really echoey, I apologize and everything in advance, everybody. So with that said, we should get the other dirty work out of the way since my audio is really dirty. If you guys would like, you can follow the MUNSTERCAST on all social medias at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then we are also on YouTube.
That's not all socials.
Ugly faces via the MUNSTERCAST YouTube channel. And then if you want, you can also email us questions, topics, if you want to be a guest, if you want to tell us your stories about the Munsters, all that fun stuff, you can email it to TheMunsterCast@outlook.com. And we appreciate every email that comes through, regardless of what it is. Munsters related, of course.
Well, when are you setting up our Periscope?
Oh, what?
When are you setting up our Periscope?
What's Periscope? I honestly don't know.
Dead social media. It's basically like the Snapchat mixed with fuck, I forgot what it's called. Vine. Vine. I'm gonna go the old one because I'm old. Yeah. It was popular for like a year or two, like back in 2017. I want to say it was dumb. It's like, okay, hey, I'm gonna upload like this 10-second clip of whatever I'm doing. And if you don't watch it in like so long, many days, it's gone forever.
Okay, yeah, it's an amalgamation of like Vine and TikTok and Snapchat is what
I was never
younger audiences know. Yeah, so if you guys want to do that, you can definitely email us at TheMunsterCast@outlook.com and definitely find us on the social medias where we're posting all different types of post Munster related, of course. And then if you do, please like our show, follow us wherever you're listening,
subscribe, rate.
Subscribe, rate, leave us some
tell a friend
comments, because it really does help in the end. And then as Tivis said, tell a friend.
It beats the algorithms that are working against us because of our name.
Yep. Not only that, smaller niche products, I guess you would say, as like everyone wants to consider the Munsters a small thing. Unfortunately, it'll help the Munsters just go up in every area of it. And it's one thing I'm really happy with the Rob Zombie film is like we're getting more Munsters tags and stuff like that on Google and all that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm just happy. More Munsters stuff in general. Bring it on. There you go. You brought it out of the abyss.
All right. So what do we want to start with today, my man?
Well, you actually brought me a couple of interesting things this week. The Cheerios commercial that you sent me was real cool. Did you share that to the Facebook page yet?
I did not. No, I did not.
All right, so I can do that.
Be shared by the time this episode drops.
Yeah. It's basically just a bunch of clips from the actual show mixed in with some original footage of Butch handing Fred a box of Cheerios and Herman eating it. It's cool though. I like seeing old commercials like that.
Yeah.
And then the other one, which was something I actually knew about and forgot.
Yeah.
The Wayans were supposed to be directing this movie.
Yeah, the Wayans brothers were supposed to go. They weren't supposed to direct this movie that's coming out, but they had the opportunity.
The next Munsters movie.
Yeah, well, and it was before the 2012 one too. That ended up being the TV.
That weird pilot.
So it was, I found that article because I was just like surfing the web and everything. I was like, Wayans brothers, like, Sean and Marlon, like, really, like, and it popped up, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And so I dropped it to Tivis, and he's like, dude, you just gave me a flashback of like 2004. But yeah, so they were supposed to actually do a film or a TV adaptation. I'm not exactly sure what their plans were back in 2004. So I'm interested what it would have been like.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Let us know. Would any of you have liked to have seen what the Wayans would do with these characters? Because I mean, I'm a big fan of comedy in general, so I'm curious.
Yeah. I still always remember like flashback to the George Lopez show where they like played around with the characters lightly.
I just watched that again last night.
Yeah.
Or not last night, but on Monday with my wife.
What do you know what episode that was or what season, so we can tell the audience if they have not seen it?
I'll look it up real quick. But now that she's seen a couple episodes with the Munsters, she can appreciate a little bit more with how accurate, like, oh my God, especially the actress that plays George's mom as grandpa. Sorry, excuse me. It's one of their Halloween.
It's a Halloween special.
Leave It to Lopez. Let's see. It's from 2004, season 4, episode 5.
Okay. Yeah. So if you guys haven't seen that one, it's actually pretty cool. Like it's like a dream sequence / homage to the Munsters, which is really cool. So
yeah, and the clips on the clip is on YouTube, but the entire episode is pretty because they go through a bunch of different shows, sitcoms that George enjoyed as a child.
Yeah, it was basically WandaVision before WandaVision. So
yeah, pretty much. I will let you know the tone, like the actual story to the episode is a bit more serious, but it's still cool to see the actors. Like the whole everyone in it portrays the character so well. Yeah. It's really cool.
And then seeing that too, after you watch the Munsters, and for people who don't necessarily watch the Munsters nonstop, if you see that, then you really understand why they say like the Munsters is a straight up, sitcom, because like a sitcom was able to actually do the Munsters and it works. So that's why we say Munsters is a sitcom, and Herman is like one of America's like best dads out there, I'm gonna say. So yeah.
All
right. Do you want to dive into the first episode for today?
Don't you dare do that. She just grabbed my leg.
Tivis has cats everywhere. At least my cat is just sitting on the couch right behind me. And it's not moving. Kitty. For people who aren't watching the video, I have an image of the Munsters living room behind me right now. So yeah. All right. Let's dive into it.
All right. For this first episode, Grandpa's Lost Wife, season 2, episode 20, aired February 3rd, 1966. Written by Doug Tibbles with Norm Liebman and Haas involved. Directed by Ezra Stone again. Like I said, we're going to be seeing his name a lot as we end the show. That he became like a pretty much a staple of this series. Only 2 guests this week, this episode. I'm still doing 32 episodes, and I'm still doing this. Jane Withers as Pamela Thornton, who we actually met way back in Pike's Peak as Fanny Pike.
Okay.
And then we have Douglas Evans as Clarence, who played a handful of roles in Perry Mason, which aired from 57 to 66, and was also Leland Stone in an episode of The Green Hornet, which I got to mention Green Hornet.
Yeah. And those are the serials, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tivis just got attacked by his cat. Awesome. Is that all for the guest then?
Yep.
All right. So episode 20, Grandpa's Lost Wife, February 3rd, 1966, as Tivis previously stated. A lady in Sioux City, Iowa, has placed an advertisement offering a reward for the return of her lost husband, Grandpa, who claims to have never seen the woman before in his life. All 400 and some years of his life, almost. No, 350 some years, I think he said.
Yeah, I have the exact number somewhere in here.
Yeah. And it's funny because I was watching this episode and I was like, wait, we watched this episode. And then I realized, oh no, I just watched this episode like a couple weeks ago on like Me TV or something like that. It just popped on. So
Mike's watching ahead.
Whatever comes on TV, I just watch it. And so yeah, and my kid actually watched both of these episodes with me, my oldest. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, my wife watched the last half of the second episode with me.
Yeah.
So
let's dive on in, man, because I actually really enjoyed this one.
A little bit of a spoiler there, man.
Yeah, well.
So we open on Herman talking about killing someone with piano wire. And he's in bed, I'll add. It's clear to me. I know what they're going for, but it's clear that he's reading something.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out to be Shocking Detective Magazine. And it eventually ends in a cliffhanger. And he's very upset that he has to wait till next week's issue to continue the story.
I do have to point out, though, man, the instrumentals they were playing as he was doing like the quote unquote monologue, aka reading from the pages. It was really cool because I enjoyed it because it was like setting you up, like, they're supposed to try and fake you out for what was going on. But I thought that the instrumentals playing at that exact time were just perfect for this moment. And especially for the camera angle we had on Herman, because they do this close, tight up angle. So you don't see the magazine.
No.
Yeah. What?
I'm just going to get a picture of this cat to share on Instagram because she's like rolling around on my vent to get the AC. It's an interesting opening because it's like, because we've known from experience, Herman doesn't mind talking about killing someone.
Yeah.
But with piano wire was a bit much. So he hits at the end of the story in the cliffhanger. And
I actually curious too, because in the story he's reading, the person says, I'll kill him. I'll kill him. I'll kill him. So I'm wondering if that's where Herman picked it up from, like from his story.
Yeah. We know he's an impressionable 150-year-old man.
Man-child. Yeah.
But when he hits this cliffhanger, he throws a little temper tantrum in bed and it wakes Lily up next to him. Now that we were just talking about the George Lopez, I want to say it like he does in Lily. Yeah. But she's like, will you stop it? I'm trying to sleep. He's like, all right, I'll go check the missing persons section.
Then she just goes back to sleep, like, and throws her head back like she did in the previous episode where we saw her go to sleep.
She doesn't have an issue going to sleep, which is nice.
I getting old. That hurt my neck doing that.
Oh boy. Yeah, he mentions he hopes to one day get rich by thinking on a crook.
Yeah.
And then he spots one ugly dude with $1,000 reward on his head. And he's staring at it, and he's, wait a minute. Then he's like, hey, Lily, hey.
It just wakes her up again.
Yeah, which the rest of this scene confuses me. Sorry, excuse me. I got the burps apparently. He wakes her up to tell her that he has seen a shocking face in the magazine. She is upset by being woken up again and tries to tear the magazine from his hands, causing him to fall out of bed, and she takes it. He begins pleading with her. Don't look at it. It's going to upset you. Why did you wake her up? So she opens it up and yells.
It's probably one of those moments, though, where it's like, because I've done that before. I'm like, shit, I got to tell my wife this. And then after I get her attention, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to tell you what just happened. But yeah, so she like screams.
Yeah, like a banshee.
Did you like the fact that the dust cloud, when Herman fell out of bed, came before he hit the ground?
Yes.
It's like, wait, did I see that right? I rewound it to make sure. But yeah, she freaks out and she just screams, and then we cut to credits, right? She didn't faint. It was Herman that fainted. No, he faints later. Never mind. I'm rethinking.
I think we get a close up of the magazine page and then credits.
Yeah, then credits.
Yeah. I don't remember if anyone faints or not.
Not in this scene, I don't think so. But I have to say, as far as the intro goes, like before the credits, of course, here, I liked this one. Like, I really thought that this one was the better one for me. With the acting and what was actually going on in the scene and stuff. It's probably one of my favorite intros right now.
Yeah, that was a good one. And for anyone who couldn't guess from the synopsis, the image is of Grandpa.
It says he's wanted for $1,000 too. So
yeah, which I didn't convert because I was tired.
And then we have the intro or the intro, and then we go back into the house.
Yeah, we cut to the next morning where Herman is sealing an envelope while singing to himself. Lily's like, "Hey, well, why are you in such a good mood?"
Well, I'm gonna turn Grandpa in, basically.
I'm selling out my rotten old father-in-law. And the look on her face, Herman.
And the fact that she goes and is like, what would he do? You know, if it was in the reverse, Grandpa wouldn't turn you. I'm like, Grandpa would totally turn him in still to this day, regardless.
Yeah. He's like, well, I'm going to send it to the letter who's and to the woman looking for him, and then I'm gonna tell her to come get him and bring the money. He's like, Grandpa would never turn you in to get $1,000. And no. Remember after our wedding when he asked if I wanted to donate to a hospital? 2 people showed up with a wagon to collect me.
Yeah.
As one does with family, she brushes him off, which is, natural.
She says something, and I'm just like, wait, really? Y'all just said that?
Yeah, she's something about they don't want some prefabricated guy marrying the royalty.
Yeah. So clearly they're royalty.
Yeah, well, they're Draculas.
Draculas, yeah. But they call them prefabricated. So I'm just like, wow, that has to be an insult to him. Like what
a jerk.
Oh, it's crazy. Because I could just imagine it like nowadays, like, I don't want you marrying my daughter because you're, a bum or whatever, basically. So I'm like, prefabricated. Okay, that's mean. Didn't Grandpa help create him though? Supposedly.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And
a lot.
So Herman eventually relents. He's like, hey, I won't send it. And then Lily gets a worried look on her face. Did Grandpa do something horrible to this woman?
Yeah.
Now, Herman's curious because you know how he is.
Yeah.
We get another instance of, hey, let's ambush this character, but we're going to be subtle about it. Kind of like what they did with Eddie. And it worked out so well. And Herman's like, I promise I'll be triple subtle.
Yeah. Then we go to dinner.
Yeah.
Is it dinner or breakfast? No, it was dinner.
It's dinner because it was like burning sticks of food on swords.
Yeah, because yet again, the Munsters made the women make the food and bring it to them.
I'm shocked they came out with flames.
Yeah, it was really cool to see the sword kebabs, the kebabs on the sword, which is really cool. But yeah, they actually come out with flames, and I'm like, they got really close to Fred. And I'm like, he's got to be wearing a ton of latex, bro. That can't be safe at all.
Everything about this show just looks flammable.
Right.
And yet they continue to mess with fire.
That's how you know it's real, my man.
Oh man, we need to get someone, Butch, anyone who worked on that episode where they caught the set on fire. I need to know if that was on purpose or not. Oh, it's stuck with me this whole time. I need to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Lily remarks about being glad that they live in this big, wonderful country. Herman then says, speaking of this big, wonderful country, when was the last time you were in
Sioux City?
Yeah. Cut right to
like, wait, what?
And like Al does such a great job in this.
Yeah.
Because he plays it off like you can't tell if he's lying or genuinely can't remember.
Right. And he's like, he doesn't know anything, honestly. And it makes sense with this character because, I mean, crap, he made the one potion and forgot exactly what was in it, like literally a day later. So how are you going to remember if you have a wife in Sioux City, which, you know, lawsuit city, right?
But when he says this, Lily like looks at him like, what is wrong with you? And I forget, like Herman asks a follow-up question and she like elbows him. Like, shut up.
He just continues to ask. He's like, so have you ever been to, you know, Iowa, Sioux City? He continually says Sioux City. And she's just like, what the hell are you doing? Like, calm down for a second. Let's get subtle, man. Subtle.
Yeah. Then Grandpa begins eating the sword. But it's too rare for him. So he tries the second one, and that one's just right.
Yeah.
He loves a good
it makes
what is it, barbecued sword or something like that?
Yeah, like a just right, like well rare, something like that sword. It makes sense though because we have previously seen Grandpa loves eating his nails. And Eddie's nails apparently too, because he eats Eddie's nails.
Yeah,
I don't understand where Dracula's in eating metal comes.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is that some vampire lore I don't know about?
I don't know, man. You think Eddie would be cautious about it because what if he eats a silver nail, something made of silver? Him being part werewolf.
Yeah.
He should be very cautious.
Well, we know Grandpa can go out in the sun. And I know that's a thing that Dracula can do in some stories, but
yeah,
maybe the same, you know, the folklore or whatever, what a myth, weaknesses don't actually exist in this.
Yeah, maybe.
Because Lily also goes out in the sun and she's not, well, she is a Dracula though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could Dracula's kids go out in the sun in the stories?
In the stories?
Yeah. Doesn't he have 2 kids?
Like, are you talking like the daughters of Dracula type thing, where like, or like the ones that are actually like almost like, I don't want to say blood related, but biologically his. Biologically,
yeah. I thought he had kids in one of the many novels stories out there.
Yeah, there's so many of them out there. I don't know, man. Blade.
I know he's got a nephew, but
yeah. Well, Blade is already proven too. All we have to do is put sunscreen on, and they're perfectly fine.
SPF 5.
Maybe that's why Grandpa's so pale. It's just a crap load of sunblock every day.
Oh, you just took me on such a tangent in my head, dude. Do you remember those old radio commercials? Here's to you, real men of genius.
Oh yeah.
It's like SPF 500 guy. There's 24 hours in a day. You're good for 6 of them.
Oh man. All right, so let's get back into this.
Yeah. So Herman's on the phone. They called the woman to find out what happened. And Lily's like, look, you need to actually be subtle this time. Don't let on that we know where he is. Yeah. And don't mess up this time. She shakes her
don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Or don't they say something specific. It's not mess up, but don't
goof it up.
Don't goof it up. Yeah, that's what it was. Don't goof it up.
She gets real nasty when she says it too.
The fact that she like fists at him, like I'm like, man, Herman, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Herman gets on the phone with her. We only get one side of the conversation. He's like, so if I was the guy you were looking for, which I'm not, but if I was, but I'm not, just so we're clear, but if I was, for the last time, I'm not. What did I do?
The fact that he also goes and says, yeah, this is Herman. I mean, and then he changes his name.
Yeah. He goes, can you repeat that last bit? All right. Then just straight up hangs up on her. And
he's like, that's what I thought you said. Yep. And the phone up.
It's like, that's his wife. And then this is when we get someone passing out.
Yeah, this is when Herman passes out right there. Which I don't understand why Herman passes out just because Grandpa's married. Like we know Grandpa's been married like 100 times.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why he passed out. I would expect it more from Lily, honestly, to pass out.
Oh boy. I made another giant paragraph in my notes. Okay, let's go. So the whole family confronts Grandpa, who is outraged by somebody claiming to be his wife in Sioux City. Herman begins naming off a bunch of other cities. Do you have a wife here, 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 here? Eventually, Grandpa's like, I don't know. So, maybe
he has one buried in every state.
Well, this is where I'm starting to think is maybe we were wrong in assuming that he killed all those wives. Maybe he's just a deadbeat who ups and leaves.
Just walks out on them.
Yeah.
No divorce or nothing, just walks out.
Yeah, well, we know he doesn't believe in divorce.
Right. Oh, that's even worse. Just kill him, man.
Someone's going to clip that. Someone's going to be me. So Lily, like, what do you mean you don't know? He's like, I'm pretty sure, I've been married a lot and I'm 378 years old. So I do tend to outlive a few of them.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad. And he sounds kind of sad when he says it. Like, oh man, maybe we've been so wrong about Grandpa this whole time. And he's just misunderstood, lonely.
No,
he's a jerk. So Herman's like, if he doesn't know,
go on.
I forgot to put the quote here. For no, I didn't. I just scrolled past it in my notes and it's hidden. Okay. Herman demands to know what Grandpa was doing on August the 12th. Grandpa, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, he's like, what?
I don't know. I like the sound of it on Perry Mason. Okay.
Yeah. And then this is when Lily asks or says that he didn't give or send the leather out, correct?
Right. Well, first of all, Grandpa scared this woman. Does she know where I live? And Lily's like, yeah. He's like, did you send that letter? He's like, no, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
You'd hurt me.
Which, in defense of Herman, we find out he did not.
No. Because they're going this back and forth, and the look on Grandpa's face, he eventually says, what letter?
And he's like, well, I was going to send, and he's like, Herman, I'll kill you.
Yeah. They rush over to the table where it was laying and start.
Well, Grandpa goes and puts his hand out, and he's like, give it to me. I want the leather. I'm going to burn it right now.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Or else I'm going through the ceiling. Right.
Yeah.
Like they rush over to their coffee table, start throwing everything off of it. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. It's desk. Yep. And dumping out all of the drawers as Eddie comes in and is, what are you guys doing? We're looking for a letter that I was going to rat Grandpa or get Grandpa in a lot of trouble. Is that one to the lady in Sioux City? Yeah. Oh, I just mailed it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. If you just mailed it, go down to the post office and ask for it back. Just go.
Right. And right after that, the Grandpa just like looks and then just flies up through the roof.
He gives Herman a look of pure fury.
That's not Herman's fault, though. I mean, what kid actually would just grab a letter and mail it off without asking? Like,
well, not only that,
but I truly think that Eddie is not just like a 10-year-old boy. I think that he's like 50 years old.
Yeah, he
ages slower.
Ages like Grogu. Yeah, but not only does Grandpa go through the ceiling, Lily is staring daggers through Herman, which he didn't mail it.
Yeah. But he thought about it, and therefore it happened. Therefore, it's his fault because, he's the husband.
Why didn't you take care of the letter then?
Right.
Yeah, there's how many people in this house? 2 of you knew about it. Neither one of you did anything with it.
Yeah.
So Grandpa's like staring at there's some kind of time jump here because there's no way this is the next day.
Yeah, no, it's
the amount of time it takes
or so ago or a week or so later. Yeah.
But Grandpa's like staring out the windows. Oh, she could show up any second. Marilyn's like, hey, maybe your wife won't even turn up. And he's, don't call that woman my wife. He's like, and
he doesn't know what she looks like either, too, which is interesting. Like, he's just like, nope.
Yeah. At my age, I don't want to meet a wife I have to be introduced to, which I thought was a great line. And then we find out the whole family's just sitting there staring at him to look out the window. Lily's, hey, Herman, can you calm him down? So he goes over to Grandpa. He's, look, if this woman does show up, I'm going to stick by you like glue.
Yeah.
And then Grandpa's like, there's a car pulling up and a woman getting out. Every man for himself. And the 2 of them like race and bump into each other on their way to the trap door.
Yeah. They just like both get up and bolt. Like, jeez. So then we get Lily answers the door to this random lady who comes on in, and she's like looking around, and she's kind of like looking in somewhat disgust, but not like necessarily showing it 100%.
Yeah, she doesn't really take a lot of react to a lot of the house. So they lead her to the living room.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, hey, where's my long lost husband? And this is when Eddie gets introduced to his possible grandma. Grandpa isn't around. She turns, she gets emotional. She's like, are you my grandson? Come give, I forget what she calls herself, a hug. Eddie flips shit. It screams like a madman and runs away. What the hell? It's so weird. I laughed. I called my wife in to replay this scene, and she looks at me. She's like, "Why are you laughing so hard?" I'm like, "I can't explain it. It's just so weird."
Yeah, there was a few scenes in here where I just like broke down laughing. I was like, "Wow."
Hey, give me a hug.
Yeah. And then she goes on. It's just like, "Well, where's my husband? Like, where's Grandpa?" Basically.
After this, though, there's a really great facial acting from Yvonne, and she's like, she tells Pamela. We find out that her name's Pamela Thornton, by the way. She's like, he acts like that with new people, and she looks at Marilyn like, what the hell was that about?
So nobody expected this from Eddie at all. And I'm actually wondering if he was supposed to be that like hyperbolic when he did it, or if Butch just was like, what are they gonna do? Make me redo it? And then just like went AWOL. And they left it in because it was so funny. They're like, yeah, let's do that. It makes sense though too for the character, because he hasn't had a grandma that we know of.
Yeah, other than the giantess girdle in the attic.
Yeah. Within this series, I should say, he hasn't had a grandma. Yeah.
It's so dumb. I don't know why it's funny to me either, but it just makes me laugh so much. Yeah, she begins asking, so where's my husband? And I think at this point, Herman and Grandpa like kind of
they're
crop open. Yeah, they're like listening in from the trap door.
Yeah.
So Lily and Marilyn, they begin talking down Grandpa, like, well, why would you want to be married to him? He's such a terrible guy. And Liz like, those fangs he's proud of? Those are just dentures. You get a shot of Herman like stifling a laugh. Yeah. And Chris, they don't need to go so hard. But
bad for Grandpa most of this episode, like towards the end of this especially.
Yeah, this is like one of those episodes where you find out that the guy who is generally an a-hole actually is just sad inside.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel a little bad, and then you remember he still acts like an a-hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no excuse for that. Don't be that A.
So she basically just demands to see her husband, though.
Yeah, she turns real nasty.
She just gets nasty and mean, and then she leaves. She up and leaves. She says, "You guys like so long to show me my husband," or whatever.
Yeah, or the kid gloves come off.
Yeah, and then cut to, I believe it's the next day, the next shot, anyways.
Yeah,
they're reading like the legal notice or whatnot, the legal document, saying, "Hey, you need to, bring this person here." I think they even say Sam Dracula on it.
Yeah, they're like the Count, aka Sam Dracula.
Yeah. And if he does not appear, you're going to be sued or prosecuted or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm. To the fullest extent of the state.
Yep. And then where do we go from there, Tivis?
Marilyn's like, well, what are you going to do now, Grandpa? And Grandpa's, I'm going to that hotel and figuring this shit out. So,
yeah, because it is a hotel. I forgot about that.
Because she's from Indiana.
Yeah.
So
Iowa.
Thank you. There's another episode that deals with Indiana. So we cut to the hotel, and it's clearly the same set they used when the family went there to get out of their house when they rented it out.
Yeah, where they Airbnb'd their house in the 60s. Yeah.
So he knocks on the door and she answers, and she seems absolutely shocked to see him, and begins like hugging him. I think I have a typo in my notes. I have hubbing.
Yeah, hugging.
He tells me, like, will you stop it? Look, I've never been seeing you before in my life. And she's, well, come in and we could talk about it over some champagne. Yeah. Draculas don't drink wine. But the fact of the matter is, I am not your husband.
Yeah, she does not want to accept it. And then this chick really lays into Grandpa about like what they had, what they did. Like, we had a yacht. And Grandpa's like, a yacht?
Yeah. Look, she's like, you don't remember our marriage? No. The strolls around the lake? No. That we would take a yacht out for midnight cruises? Yacht. He's like, we would go across the lake to the country club to eat. And at this point, he looks a little offended to be part of a country club. Like,
yeah.
What? And she's like, well, what about our 400-acre estate with our own stable of 52 horses? Oh, yeah. How about that? He's like, you look so charming in that $10,000 Stutz Bearcat. Yeah. He's like, I had that. He's like, well, yeah. Well, why don't you keep going? Maybe it'll come back to me. And he grabs the wine. And at this point, she calls someone out of her bedroom, which should be a giant attorney. Red flag.
It's her attorney, yeah.
That's what she explained, yeah. And she's like, hey, I need you to sign this. And Grandpa's like, anything. So he signs it. Then after he signs it, he's like, hey, what did I sign? Yep. It's a sworn. It's a sworn affidavit stating that he is Miss Thornton's husband.
Yep.
And she's like, and as long as he signed that paper, that's all that counts, which another red flag.
I thought it was a play on words for because he's Count Dracula. Yeah, so then we go back to Grandpa going back to the house, and he just heads straight for his room area.
Mm-hmm. Well, before he gets home, though, Herman and Lily are talking. He's like, what if he moves in with this woman? And Herman's like, he wouldn't give up his wonderful home life for anything in the world.
Yeah.
And that's the point when Grandpa comes in and starts packing all of his shit.
And Herman's kind of like jesting with him, like trying to like, make fun of the whole situation, stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, there was a great little back and forth when he first enters too, because he's like, hey, what's the fire? And Grandpa just stops, turns to him, shut up, stupid. Why? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, how'd it go with the crazy at the hotel? He's like, you watch what you say about my wife. And, Lily and Herman take it as a joke. But then Grandpa comes up with a suitcase. Myke left me. That's why I'm talking. And says he's going to live with his rediscovered wife. Lily asks if he's serious, and Grandpa says it wouldn't be fair to them to have such a rich cat living around the place. It would make them all feel inferior. I feel like I really should have Myke here to go back and forth on that line.
Yeah, go ahead. Right. I'm listening.
Oh, did you? So what do you think about the fact that they shouldn't have a rich aristocrat living there to make them feel inferior?
It's so confusing too, because Grandpa, as we've seen in previous episodes, it seems like he's kind of against those type of people in a way. Especially as we saw like with him doing
Well,
like
we know that he's very money hungry, though. He always had a guard watching their vault, and he's always trying to invent something new to get rich quick.
That's called being an entrepreneur.
Are we sure he's not a dragon?
A dragon?
Yeah, because they have
they like to keep their money
hoards
in
of gold and stuff. Yeah.
Maybe. He's kind of short. He's more like a leprechaun.
I think that's just being next to Fred. Anyone looks that way.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, Grandpa was a dick here.
I just love, though, he seems to be back to normal. He's, shut up, stupid.
Yeah.
Why?
And he's just like, I'm leaving. And he has his bag. Like, he packed the suitcase really fast. Like, I'm like, Grandpa, you have a whole like layer of stuff. Why wouldn't you just take that with you too? Just
got a whole lab.
Yeah, a whole lab. So
with a new room as well.
Yeah. Torture room too, wasn't it?
It was, Herman called it the fun room.
So it's his 50 Shades of Grey room. Okay, we got it.
Yeah. So now we're back at the hotel, and Grandpa's excited to start this new life with Pamela.
Yeah.
He knocks on her door.
Oh, go on.
What?
Go on.
Okay. Excuse me. And she's like, who is this stranger at my door? And he's, wait, what?
It's your husband.
It's me. It's your husband. He's like, oh, I just needed to prove that I was married to get an inheritance. And he's like, he actually looks really upset by this.
Well, that's because he wanted the money life. Like, he didn't give a crap about like the quote unquote love relationship or whatnot. It was all about the money for him.
She's like,
I'm actually really surprised because they pulled this gag off. The lady did in the show that she stuck around as long as she did, I guess. Unless it's supposed to be the same day, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's the same day.
Okay.
And she's like, look, I saw your photo in an old magic magazine, and anyone that looking like that should have passed on years ago.
Yeah.
He's like, well, thank you for the compliment.
What was it that she had to prove she was married for? I didn't really understand that because she was getting like a money from something because she had to be.
Yeah, there was like a stipulation on an inheritance that she had to be married, so she lied.
Yeah. Which, I mean, wouldn't the state be looking up,
That's why they have the legal documents.
But they'd have to have an actual wedding certificate, like a wedding license and all that stuff.
Forged, I guess. I don't know.
And then even if, say he does do this, okay? This is where this whole episode for me kind of like, I was just like, wait, what? Because, we find out this is all sham just so that she can get money. But he signed a legal document saying he's her husband. So he has all the right to that same money as she would too.
Yeah, technically they didn't do a prenup.
They didn't do prenup. They didn't do a divorce. So he's legally married to this person based on the documents that he signed.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like, look, I'm here in flesh, not so much blood. So we're all good. We can start our life together. This is when the attorney joins in, which I have a feeling they're a bit more than attorney and client.
Yeah.
Especially since he's staying in her bedroom. But he's like, look, we just needed your photo because she thought, he was already dead. So we were using you to convince the courts that she had a husband and is now gone.
Right.
And when she found out that you were real, we needed you to sign these papers. So in other words, get lost, bum. The look on Grandpa's face by all this, like, why?
And I feel bad for Grandpa that he was used in such an easy way.
Yeah.
And a horrible way at that too, because but at the same time, I'm like, Grandpa, you're only feeling bad because you wanted the money.
Yeah. Well,
so,
I also go back to the episode where he tries to get a mail order bride, and maybe he thought, I have someone to spend time with again, other than, family.
But I think more so, this was more set up of money,
the money and riches.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. So it's like you feel bad for him, but at the same time, you're like, dude, you were just doing it for the money.
I will say from here on out, this episode, pure gold.
Yeah.
So back at the house, Herman is angrily yelling at Lily about, I can't stop saying it like George now.
Lily.
About Grandpa. And she's also complaining, which is a first for her. Usually she sticks up for him, but she's really hurt that he would run off with some stranger. At that moment, there's a little knock on the door. It's the prodigal grandfather. Herman begins insulting him and then slams the door in his face. Lily rushes over to open it again, and Grandpa's on his knees at this point, pleading with Herman to forgive him.
Yeah.
Herman's like, absolutely not. Grandpa refused to give up, asking how he can leave a poor old man in the snow. Herman's, there's no snow. Well, give me a minute. He opens up his cloak and we have a little peek into how he makes it rain and stuff without his machine.
Yeah.
Because he's got I got
piles of like
fog, dust, hail, rain, smog, and he grabs the one that says snow.
Yeah.
And tosses this pill into the sky that explodes. A ton of snow starts falling down and jingle bells start playing. Herman immediately is like, well, it does look very cold out there.
Yeah.
Grandpa like crawls inside. Please let me come back in.
Yeah, Grandpa's basically just begging to literally come back to the house. And it's it's like one of those scenes that's like you feel bad for Grandpa the whole time. And it's a whole episode you actually really feel bad for him because he's not really a dick except for like once or twice, where usually other episodes he's a dick like to Herman nonstop.
Shut up, stupid.
Yeah. So yeah, it's funny. And Herman, when it starts snowing, he's like, "Oh yeah, it looks really cold out there."
Yeah.
So go on.
Oh, Herman eventually like relents. He's like, yeah, come on, you can move back in. And the whole family like gathers to welcome Grandpa back into the house. Grandpa like grabs Herman and pulls him aside for a moment. Hey, so I spent too much on my cab fare going to and from the hotel. Can I borrow a $5 until I'm back on my feet? I was like, yeah, you money grubbing. Yeah, free old cobbler, get out of my house. And then she grabs his suitcase and throws it out after it. Just not having any of it.
It's funny though, because like the whole family was gathering around for Grandpa to show up. Like Grandpa's only been gone for like an hour, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's like such a big deal. Yeah. So then Lily is like looks just like freaking like crazy. Like she looks sad and confused that Grandpa just got thrown out again. Yeah.
And we have a little bit of a cut to later that night because both Herman and Lily are in their nightwear. They're both standing in front of the door. Lily's like, when are you going to let Grandpa back in? I was like, when he feels bad about his actions, which good luck, Herman. He's like, I can hear Grandpa talking to himself outside.
Yeah.
After what he's done to me, I'll just have to kill him. I must have my revenge. Yes. He's cast me aside like an old shoe, but I will have his head for this. His head, I say. Everyone's like, he's going to kill me.
Yeah. He's going to take my head off. My father-in-law's going to cut my head off.
He hides behind Lily as she opens the door. He's like, why? What are you doing out there, old man? Now, he's just reading the new Shocking Detective magazine.
Yeah.
I knew it the whole time. He passes out into the snow because it's still snowing.
Yeah.
That's how we end the episode.
Yep. That's pretty cool. And I mean, you could tell kind of like because they do sort of the same close up to Grandpa before they do the reveal as they did with Herman at the beginning. So you kind of knew where it was going with it. But it was fun. It was fun, man. What did you think of the episode altogether? Because I
thought this was a fun one.
You what?
I thought this was a fun one for sure. I had a lot of fun with it, and it's just there's a lot of dumb moments in it that just made me laugh way more than I probably should have.
Yeah. Yeah. Like as for me, like I really enjoyed the acting in this episode. Like I thought it was pretty top notch for them as from everything that we've seen, honestly, because we're seeing a lot more elements to the family too with their interactions and stuff with like Herman actually being the head of the household in this episode. Like you're clearly setting the tone that Herman is in charge here with him kicking Grandpa out. And Lily can't do nothing about it. But then you also have like, Grandpa's out in the cold for once because of his greed. So, when you're too greedy, sometimes, bad things can happen to you. Which was nice to see them. I think that's the moral of the story, right?
Could be. Yeah, it's one you could take away from it.
Greed is the moral of the story because the woman is greedy and that's why she's lying to try and get money. Grandpa was greedy, so his greed almost drove him to be homeless.
I just love that
Herman was greedy too at the beginning, remember, because he wanted $1,000 as well.
Yeah, he was gonna sell Grandpa out.
I feel that greed is like the running thing in this entire episode. And it's pretty cool to see that. And like I said, the acting all around with the family was great in this episode. We got a lot more in it. Actually, the next episode we're going to get into, we get some pretty cool acting from Marilyn as well. For one scene, unfortunately. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was pretty top notch. We got to see really different facial reactions, I want to say, from like Lily and stuff like that. So
Yvonne had a lot of great emotes in this.
Yeah, a lot of different emotional or like you said, emotes. And then the way that they maneuvered around the house in this episode, like going from the couch to the desk and stuff like that, and like doing the different comedic elements in this episode were a lot different than what we've seen thus far throughout every other episode, I think. And it wasn't necessarily like a one-sided heavy. It wasn't like a Herman Grandpa heavy episode either. It was like everybody almost got a turn. Except for Marilyn.
Yeah, she was in it for a bit.
Yeah,
sadly. But I enjoyed it. I really had fun with this one. I got a couple pieces of trivia here. Shocking Detective is more than likely based on Startling Detective magazine. And also, if Grandpa is 378 in 1966, that means he was born in 1588.
Okay. So he's not as old as the legend of Dracula.
Isn't he supposed to be like Dracula's kid or grandson or something? Didn't they say that in an early episode?
I don't recall.
I know that he's not supposed to be the original one, which is...
He's not supposed to be Vlad.
Yeah. Yeah, he's related to him somehow.
Okay.
All right, so let's jump in. Well, hang on. Before we get into the second one, we got a new email.
We are already an hour in.
I know.
Is it just new just now?
No.
Okay.
So Chelsea asked us about some of the outdated jokes that people make and stuff. when it comes to the Munsters being, hillbillies and stuff. And
which I've never actually heard of the Munsters being called hillbillies. This was the first that was brought to my knowledge when Chelsea did email us. Yeah.
I could say I have not heard that, and I do not know where. Like,
if people are saying that, I don't know where they're getting it from, because
not at all. At all.
They clearly don't know what a hillbilly is. And first of all,
yeah, I have families that are hillbillies, rednecks, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
So like I may have said before, I got a grandma from Kentucky and a grandpa from West Virginia. So like
we've said this previously, though, like at least I feel the Munsters are just the working class. Like Herman's constantly working. They're working class family of immigrants. That's what they are. I don't think that you can categorize that in any way as a quote unquote hillbilly, So I don't know where that comes from. I'm sure it's probably like people on Reddit or some shit like that say stuff. Yeah. There's always going to be people out there that are saying negative things, unfortunately, about every franchise, every product, just because, they don't want to accept that it exists. I don't know how to say that. I did email Chelsea back for several of the things.
I know. I'm just airing my thoughts.
Discussion. But give your thoughts, man.
And as far as the whole Marilyn stuff, it sucks that they're kind of mean to her. I mean, they take care of her. They love her. We've seen that a lot, and I'm annoyed with the show creators for not giving Marilyn enough spotlight. But I don't, it's the whole 60s thing. I mean, Yvonne doesn't get a lot of spotlight either, which is unfortunate, because she is very, like, her name is big around the time of the show.
Yeah.
Coming off of the 10 Commandments and stuff. But as far as how dated the show is, no, it's just as dated as Adams, I Dream of Jeannie, all that stuff. That anyone who's saying this show looks older than any of those has either never seen any of the others or haven't seen this show. So but so those are just my quick thoughts in between.
Okay.
So let's quickly jump into the Fergosi Emerald.
Dun, 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 dun. This should be a fat one.
Yeah, season 2, episode 21, February 10th, 1966, written by Richard Bauer with Norm Liebman and Ed Haas, directed by Ezra Stone. Imagine that. Guest this time, we have Louise Glenn as the telephone operator. She played Selma Youzarian in Don't Call Me Charlie from 62 to 63, and Gladys in the Roaring 20s from 60 to 62. Joan Swift as the first secretary. Might I add, they have these in the correct order for the first time in these credits. First comes before second. But she played a handful of characters, including Joan Cosgrove in The Lucy Show from 66 to 68, and also Rulon Kirk in Star Trek.
Okay.
Marilyn Bell is the second secretary, and this is her only acting credit. Paul Reed as Henry J. Fergosi. He played Damon Burkhart in the Cara Williams Show from 64 to 65, and previously worked with both Fred and Al in Car 54, Where Are You?
Okay.
Synopsis time.
All righty. So we will jump into episode 21, season 2, the Fergosi Emerald, February 10th, 1966, as Tivis previously stated. Eddie gives Marilyn the ring that he found in the attic as a birthday present. Grandpa recognizes it as the Fergosi Emerald, a centuries-old ring with a Transylvanian curse. Dun, 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 dun. There we go.
So we open with Marilyn opening gifts. It's her birthday. The family, the logo goes over the family again. Still not a fan of that. Lily got her a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Do you know that adage?
No, I was trying to figure that out the whole time I was watching it.
So there's a proverb, and it's kind of a screwed up proverb now, especially so animal active, but you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, which is basically means you can't make a quality item out of poor material.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's the joke in this gift.
Gotcha.
I don't know how many you're going to get it because that's an extremely old proverb. I think I've heard it from my grandma once. Grandpa got her a hairy wallet, which is made of imported tarantula skin. Herman's gift is next. It's a photo of him for her wallet.
It's a really good photo, too.
Yeah, it's a great promotional shot.
And they even say so. She even says, "Oh, this is like the best picture ever." He's like, "I know."
Yeah. So
then
Eddie found this ring in the attic. He's like, "Hey, I couldn't buy anything, but I found this thing that we already owned. You can have it. Yeah. It's not mine, but you can have it."
She's like, "Oh, you didn't need to spend your allowance money on me." He's like, "I didn't. I forgot the attic."
I forgot that she blows her uncle a kiss.
Yeah.
As a, thank you. Since, she's way on the other side of the room and can't just go hug him.
Yeah.
And he returns it and blows everything off the table and sends a lamp through the window. I'm sure it smelt wonderful as well. But we get back to this ring. It's her favorite gift so far. And it begins beeping and lighting up. And Lily's like, "Oh, I don't know." And Grandpa's like, "Oh no." It's the Fergosi Emerald. And he faints. End of opening. Is this the fastest opening yet?
No, the last podcast, we had a faster one.
All right. Because this felt super quick.
Yeah. No, it was the one, the ghoul one, right? No, I'm thinking of something else. Apologies. I'm trying to remember which episode we said was the fastest because it was like bam, bam, and that's it. So, yeah. All right.
Yeah. So, Grandpa's passed out on the couch, and Eddie asks his dad, if this is what they look like down at the parlor. More or less, but a little more lifelike.
Yeah.
That's a great joke. I love that.
Cut to Grandpa waking up. It was like, what happened? What?
Yeah.
You passed out, old dude. Like,
no. Well, wait, where's Marilyn? She's out with her 4th straight date with Roger Davis. It's looking good. Where'd she leave the ring? She left with it. No. Oh no. That ring is guaranteed horrible bad luck for anyone who wears it. Lily is upset, but Herman's like, "Nah, bullshit." Because check out the Encyclopedia of Voodoo. Herman's like, "That is a collection of undocumented dribble." In the year 1623 in Werewolf Junction, Transylvania, a curse was placed upon an emerald ring by Duke Ferdinand Fergosi, a sore loser at love. The ring is known as the Fergosi Emerald, and the Fergosi curse inflicts severe misfortune on whoever may wear it. Grandpa points at the books. It's in black and white. I don't care if it's in blue and green with polka dots. Bullshit. So someone starts banging on the door. So Herman goes, lets him in. It's Marilyn, who looks like she had the worst day of her life and says she barely made it home.
This whole sequence with Marilyn is probably one of the best sequences, like where we've gotten her to act more and actually like do something.
I have the list of what happens to her down, but Herman's like, did Roger get fresh with you? And Lily sits her down on the couch. Herman says, I can't tell if he's worried that something happened or if he's did something happen?
Yeah. Was it consensual or not? It's basically where he's going. He's like, do I have to go kill somebody right now?
But, they set her down. She's like, oh, my day. So Roger slammed the door on my skirt, tearing it in half. Then we get into an argument whether we should have the top up or down. And as it came up, my sleeve got caught in it. Then some strange fog starts cropping up from out of nowhere. At this point, Grandpa turns to look at Herman
yeah,
and ruined her new hairdo. Then they decided to never see each other again. Then while she was waiting for a bus to get home, a huge truck splashed mud all over her. She's had a hell of a day.
Yeah. It's kind of like, what will go wrong, or what can go wrong will go wrong, basically, with her situation. And the way she's saying how these things laid out in it reminds me of a Final Destination thing. Oh, this had to happen, so this could happen, and this could happen. All at once. Yeah. All right. And then this is when Herman wants
why don't you go get the girl a hot bat milk?
That's what it was, a bat milk.
No. Let's get into this. Take that ring off immediately. And then it's cursed. Or is it? No, it's coincidence. I'm gonna prove it when I prove to you that nothing bad happens to her tomorrow. And Lily's like, what do you mean her?
I love that Herman sets her ass up. He's just she's like, wait, what do you mean her? She gives him that quick eyeball look.
It sets up a great joke later in the episode, but the next day we see Lily wearing the ring as she's doing something over a boiling pot that it turns out to be oatmeal, but it looks like she's just washing towels or something at first. Excuse me. But Eddie's like, how did you get the ring? And we get this cool little story of how it exchanged hands until 1888, where he won it from Jack the Ripper in a poker game. And he had no idea it was cursed until he tried to sell it in Transylvania.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted it.
So Grandpa being friends with Jack the Ripper, by the way, is a bad thing. So therefore, Grandpa is now an asshole again.
Yeah.
Last episode.
Lily is struggling to make the oatmeal. As the ring pulses with light again, it hardens into cement, like cement.
Yeah.
And Herman's like, that's defective oatmeal. It doesn't matter what it is. It's garbage now. Tries to throw it away, grabs the pot, and it breaks it in half.
Yeah.
Herman's like, those are just cheap. They don't make them like they used to. And Grandpa's like, please, for the love of God, take the ring off. Herman's like, no, she will not. Right? Turning to her.
And he tells her to go do something else.
Yeah, it's like get the muffins out of the oven or something like that.
The poppers, the popping muffins or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
They call them that.
Which apparently their name is pretty literal.
Yeah.
Because after she puts them down on the table, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, these things, they're they're just like bread muffin things. I'm not sure exactly what they're supposed to be. But they just start popping off like little critters, basically just popping out everywhere. Shooting off the table. And you hear the noise more times than there are definitely things in there. So I'm not sure if they're still popping when they're off of the tray, or if it was just supposed to be while they were on the tray they were popping. Wasn't sure about that one. And then we get eventually, after a while, she pulls the ring off. Lily takes the ring off
while pelting them and breaking windows.
And they just stop. And then she puts the ring back on and it starts up again. And she eventually takes it back off again. And they're like, see, they stopped when every time she pulled the ring off, basically.
Yeah, Herman's still not believing it.
Yeah.
So he says he's going to put it on someone who's muscular, courageous, and masculine. And Lily like grabs Eddie. It's like, no, not my little boy. He's like,
she plays this. Oh my goodness. Her reaction's like, no, not my baby boy. I was like, holy crap, the overacting in this episode, man.
Yeah, Herman's like, I'm talking about me. Yeah. And then he puts it on. And the curse begins immediately. The water tank falls off the wall, breaking the table.
Yeah.
Grandpa tells him to get the ring off, but it's stuck. Herman trips and falls backwards into the cabinet, and the dishes fall out. But hey, the kitchen phone is visible, which we haven't seen in a long time. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Herman's like really frustrated that he can't get this ring off now. He's starting to believe in the curse. You could tell. But the family has a solution.
They're going to break the curse instead, since they can't take off the ring.
No. Way before that.
Oh.
They corner off a small section of the room with rope with a sign saying, stay back, look.
Not even cornered off. They like in the center of the room. Make a little wrestling ring for him to sit in, basically.
And the whole time Herman's like messing with it, trying to get it off.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, good night. Should I kiss Dad? And Lily's like, no, don't get too close. No one is allowed near him until this is settled. And Herman's just in like a little rocking chair. That's all he has. But so Eddie goes off, and Lily's like, hey, do you want some candy? So she grabs a plate of candy with some tongs, and she's about to hand it. She angles it so her body doesn't get anywhere near him.
Yeah.
It hands the plate. As he reaches for some candy, the plate explodes. He's very upset, yanking at the ring. Well, thanks anyway.
Eventually his chair breaks on.
Oh yeah, Grandpa. It's like, have you tried washing your hands and getting up a good leather? I'm getting self-conscious now. I had to most of my it's like one of my biggest fears. Herman's like, Herman cuts him off by saying the ring didn't come off, the soap exploded. Lily's back with a broom, starts brushing the plates, and Grandpa's like, well, have you tried a sledgehammer? Lily's like, ring didn't come off, sledgehammer melted.
I don't know why they didn't try and just cut his finger off or like undo the stitching and take his finger off.
Yeah, that's what I kept thinking that what the solution was going to be. But Herman gets up and like walks his tiny little square.
Yeah.
And he's like extremely frustrated by this. And Grandpa's like, do you believe me now? And Herman's like, well, it could be a possibility. He puts his hand on the chair he's sitting on, and it just falls apart. So Lily returns to the room once again. It's like, well, can we just remove the curse if we can't get the ring off?
Yeah.
He's like, according to the Encyclopedia of Voodoo, the curse can only be removed by a Fergosi family member. I'm pretty sure there's none left, but
let me make a call.
Yeah, if it means this much to you, I'll make a call. And Herman's still holding a piece of his chair. The piece of the chair suddenly breaks apart in his hands. So, Grandpa's at the phone booth. And he loves dialing direct. So he talks to a Call Connect Center woman in Transylvania or Werewolf Junction.
Yeah, Werewolf Junction.
She has an accent. That's interesting. And I like that they actually address it later on, but he's like, he says that this is Count Dracula, and the woman begins like,
she fangirls out.
The Count Dracula, the original? I'm like, no, it's not. But Grandpa's like, yes. Like, you liar. He's like, oh, I've heard so many stories of my childhood. You once bit my grandma, Louise Schultz. I'm sorry. I just don't remember. And she's, oh, it's no big deal. You know, I'm sure you've had a lot of victims. So I'm like, oh, that's nice of her. It's like whenever you go meet a celebrity, it's like, hey, I met you once. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember. I'm sure you've met a lot of people. It's fine.
Right.
So, do you have any listings for Fergosi? No, I regret to inform you that all those descendants of the family are deceased. Yeah, I was afraid of that. Well, except for the one in Detroit, Michigan, the one who works with cars. I was like, oh, Henry J. Fergosi. I thought this was a joke on Henry Ford. Turns out, no, it's a joke on a different car company. Before they hang up, Grandpa asks her where she got her interesting accent, because again, she has like some weird accent that is definitely not Transylvanian. She goes, oh, I was educated in England. I'm like, I appreciate the fact that they went out of their way to address that.
Just to give you an idea of where the accent's from.
Yeah, I still don't think that's an English accent. It sounds like New York to me, New Yorker. Yeah. But Grandpa rushes back in. We're going to Detroit to see the guy of Amalgamation Motors, which again, General Motors.
Yep.
So they get on a plane, which I'm like, oh no, this is a terrible idea. Why do you think this is a good idea?
That plane should crash. Why did it not crash?
But it didn't. It turns out they got on 3 connecting flights too, and they all were safe. But they're in Mr. Fergosi's office. You know, the secretary is real confused by these people, but they're like, hey, you know, go ahead in and talk to him. And Herman destroys their table before he leaves.
Yeah.
Sorry. Henry has no idea of this family curse, and he denies ever being from Transylvania entirely. Oh, yeah. Hey, Herman, show him the ring.
And the dude freaks out. He's like, no, get out of here. Leave now.
Grandpa's like, gotcha. I need to hide my black magic in order to work in the industry. So you must keep this a secret.
Yeah. Then he goes into this like little room behind his chair, his office desk and stuff.
Well, Lily like begs, like, please remove the curse. And he's like, oh, okay, oh yeah, I'll be glad to do it. Oh, I'll be glad to get rid of this, you know, dark mark on the family.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is actually pretty cool when he opens up the secret door, because he's going by this art thing on the wall, and he's like getting ready. He's like, oh. He put out just one part of it. It's like his whole persona changes from this point on, and it becomes hilarious. He puts on a robe and this pointed wizard hat. He's like, ooh, and it's even got like a strap so it doesn't fall off his head.
Yeah, and he kind of gets this like hunch to him too.
Yeah, he's crossing like, he's got like Danhausen pushing.
Yeah. It's funny. And they go into his like little like lab area where his cauldron is and everything.
Yeah, and, I like to come in here to put curses on rival cars to give them low gas mileage, or so that they only play my commercials over the radio. Grandpa's like, well,
have you ever done it to a whole car?
Yeah, he's like, only once. Have you ever heard of the Edsel? Which this is a interesting joke here, because the Edsel was a horrible idea by Ford that lost them over 250 million, which is over 2 billion in today's money.
Yeah.
It was, it was a terrible mistake on that company's part. So it's hilarious that they included it in this joke. So he begins looking through a Rolodex. Curse removal. He finds it and he's throwing in a bunch of ingredients. He's like, a little bit of Mr. Clean. Like, yeah, I'm sure they had that back in the 1600s. Unless they're saying Mr. Clean is made by a witch.
Oh, dude, the Edsel was named after Henry Ford's son.
Oh, that's even worse. So yeah, he does this potion and then starts saying a magic spell. And the ring explodes off Herman's hand with some cool little special effects. We get like lightning bolt symbols and
yeah.
Grandpa tells him not to mock Transylvania magic again. Remember well, can you whip me up a batch of chocolate chip cookies before we leave? And the whole family's like, ugh. It kind of looks like Mr. Fergosi might do it. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I guess. Is that what you want? So then we cut back to the home with Marilyn wearing the ring now that it's normal again. And she's like, oh, yeah, I'm back with Roger. And everything is great. And then Eddie comes down from the attic again with a neat marble. It's the Nathanson ruby. It makes the emerald look like a good luck charm. And Grandpa's like, I'm going to protect the family this time and just get rid of this thing immediately. He opens the door and goes to whip it outside as Herman comes home. Hi, right into his mouth, and he swallows it. The rug flies out from under him. The chandelier falls on top of him. And Grandpa goes to phone or to call Prince Nathanson family member.
Yep.
Here we go again. And that's the episode ends, but not before my wife gets out this statement. He's going to have to shit that out.
I don't understand why they don't just cut him open, but okay.
Like, yeah, it's going to be a rough one to go through his bowels too, because it was a big, big ruby.
Was it me, or was this episode just a lot faster paced?
It was very fast paced. Like stuff just happened like continuously.
And there wasn't much like, I'm going to say there wasn't much substance for sure.
No, but it was fun.
But it was fun. Yeah, it was definitely fun. Yeah, it was a fun episode, man. I enjoyed it. I like that they're adding in new elements of, there's the curses in this world now, or there's other families that dive into dark arts that aren't necessarily just like the Munsters or Munster adjacent, in the family. So it's cool. I liked it. And knowing that there's all these cursed items in the Munsters house is kind of worrisome. Like, what if some crooks stole that stuff? That'd be kind of fun, though.
Yeah, like those old ladies who wanted to buy everything in the place.
Yeah. So what were your final thoughts on this specific episode, though, man? Like,
I really, really enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Just again, the back and forth between Al and Herman. Yvonne gets more time on screen. We get a bit more from Marilyn.
Like the whole part about her like explaining everything that happened and stuff. You really get to see Pat Priest act right there, where usually it's just her smiling and saying a couple lines here or there. So I'm glad that they're granted this is more than halfway through now. The second
we only got like 12 episodes left or something.
Yeah, so there's not much left of the season, but we're finally getting more and more, not necessarily like more from the characters, more world building too, which is really cool. And, hopefully it works out into the movies as well. The 2 movies that are based on this specific family.
That just blew my mind. By the end of summer, we're going to be done. Well, towards the end of summer. I consider summer beginning before it actually officially does.
Yeah.
But like by the time schools start up again, we'll be finished with the original series.
Yeah.
That's blowing my mind.
That's the idea, my man. That way
I know.
We're gonna do, for everybody that doesn't know, since we got a couple minutes here, we can discuss it. After we are finished with the second season, we're actually going to start, quote unquote, the third season of the podcast itself. Is going to be all of the movies, all of the little content. I told you to
stop doing that. It's confusing in terms of this show.
Yeah, it breaks it up on like iTunes and stuff like that for us, which is nice. I like it because it gives us a break. Yeah, so we'll end up doing like all the movies. We're going to start with the 66 movies and stuff like that. We're going to try and
what's the first one? Here Comes the Munsters in Technicolor.
I think it's Munsters Revenge was the first one. There's that. No, that's the second one. Munsters Go Home.
Munster Go Home
is the first one, and then Munsters.
That's right. Here Comes the Munsters is the 90s.
Yeah. So we'll be doing those two films, and then we'll dive into some other stuff that's based on the 60s specific franchise before we dive into all the other movies and stuff like that. And by that time too, I mean, depending on how we set up, Rob Zombie's movie might be out already by then. We can discuss that one, watch that, and discuss it. So we're still waiting for a release date, and we're still waiting for knowledge as to where it's going to be. I think it's going to end up on a streaming service, though. I don't think it's going to.
That's the rumor, but we'll see.
So we'll see where it goes. And I do want to thank everyone that has been emailing us. And
before you close out the show, I do have trivia.
Oh yeah. You got that. Well, I still want to thank everybody for emailing us all the time.
We appreciate all of the interaction we've been getting. Facebook, Twitter, email, all of that.
All of it.
A couple of people on Instagram. It's always great to hear feedback, good or bad.
So dive into the
trivia. Yeah. All right. So the Fergosi Emerald / curse is possibly named after Jim Fergosi, who was an extremely popular baseball player at the time. So someone on the writing crew, probably a fan.
Yeah.
So these last two, I wrote them verbatim as I saw it. Well, I just copy and pasted. I didn't retype them, but they're so interesting. I can't break them down. So the character Henry J. Fergosi is a play on Henry J. Kaiser, who developed the Henry J., an American automobile built by the Kaiser Fraser Corporation and named after its chairman in the early 1950s. To improve slow sales, in 1952, Kaiser sold through Sears a rebranded Allstate, which was a Henry J with some added options such as trunk lids. So they were extremely cheap made cars, basically, this is a company I've never heard of. And I wonder, is the Allstate company a legacy of this brand? Because that's pretty interesting. And the last thing I have here is kind of more where the idea of a cursed emerald might come from, which there folk stories told by a 16th century French historian, Brantome. He was impressed by emeralds brought back to Europe from the Americas by Spanish explorer Cortez. On one of the most notable emeralds, Cortez had a text engraved. Brantome considered the act of engraving such a beautiful and simple product of nature sacrilege and the cause for Cortez's loss of an extremely precious pearl, and even blamed the death of King Charles the Ninth on it. So, cursed emeralds have been long time in stories and fables and stuff, but it's kind of interesting to see where they develop.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we hope that this isn't too long of an episode. Try to get through it a little bit quicker because, as you said, there's not a whole lot of substance to the second one, but these were two really good ones, and I look forward to next week's episodes a lot because the first one we're going to talk about, finally, Zombo.
Yeah. Yep.
And the second one is Crano de Munster. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but It's going to be a fun one. I can't wait to finally meet this character that I learned from Rob Zombie's movie.
Yeah. Zombo. Awesome, man. So I look forward to both of those episodes. And again, I apologize to you, Tivis, and to the audience that I forgot all about trivia for that last episode because I was just like in my own head for a second. But yeah, I did want to throw out again, thank you guys all for every interaction that you give us. We love it. And hopefully we can continue doing this with all of your guys' support and love and everything. And
we do plan on covering as much of the Munsters as we possibly can. The movies, like Myke said, we want to go into Munsters today.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to check out mini Munsters or whatever it was called.
Yep.
Yeah. And even the comics, we're going to check those out eventually. So we have no idea what order this stuff's going to go. We keep changing it behind the scenes all the time, but there's going to be more from us after we finish this show. That's for sure.
Definitely. And definitely stay tuned for it. Even if you just wanted, you don't necessarily, because I know a lot of people don't necessarily like Munster content, unfortunately, outside of the original show. But if you just want to hear us talk about it, see what we think based on it compared to this, or, comparing it to everything else there is out there, Munsters related, we would love your guys' input on our thoughts, of course, and your input on what you think based on, say like the Mockingbird Lane movie and stuff like that, in consideration to the original series and stuff. Granted, I know a lot of people out there don't like anything else outside of the original series, Fred and Al and Yvonne and Butch, but we'll definitely do you guys some justice and give you some good entertainment for sure, as long as you're with us. I don't know why
I know it's
because we still have several episodes before we're done with this season.
I know it's hard for people to see characters played by other people, but the thing we need to remember is they are characters. And while these actors did bring them to life initially, they are allowed to live beyond their actors and continue stories in new and interesting ways. It doesn't mean it's always going to click with you, and that's perfectly fine. That's acceptable. You can't, not everything is going to be for everyone.
Yeah.
But you at least should give things a chance, which is what we are definitely going to do with this movie coming up.
And I do want to shout out for Chelsea, because Tivis lightly discussed one of the things that she brought up and stuff in an email about like the hillbilly thing and stuff like that. We actually are planning on doing like just a conversation episode coming up soon, where we just talk about some of the stuff, but we want to get through the season 1 and season.
Yeah. We'll probably do that after we finish the finale.
Yeah. Definitely
include our thoughts on the series as a whole and things.
Yeah. And if you guys have any questions or topics or anything like that you want us to talk about, or again, you want to try and come on to the show and discuss the Munsters with us, or your love for them, or you want to show off some of your Munsters like collection and stuff like that, feel free to do so by just messaging us on like any of our socials on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Or email us at TheMunsterCast@outlook.com, and all of our links are in the description, guys. So Jeff, definitely check those out.
And if you have a video of your collection, post it to our Facebook page. I know.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the name, and I'm so sorry.
It goes to our community area on the page for sure.
Yeah.
In which we can share. I don't know why we didn't share the other one.
Mark Doyle. Marky Munster is his YouTube account. Go check it out. He's got, like, at the time of that video, he was only missing 2 items. I want to follow up with that so bad.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're going to do a lot of cool stuff for you guys. And we appreciate, like I said, everybody out there just hitting us up and communicating with us. It really does mean a lot more than you think, especially for us, just doing this for the fun of it. Any last words, Tivis, for today's episode, my man?
You remember Googie?
Googie, the kid? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your last word?
Yeah.
Do you remember Googie? All right. Well, with that said, guys, we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome.